Well, hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the live session this evening. I'm so grateful that you're here. It's a pretty special time of the year, actually, because it's not just because it's fall and it's really nice in Nova Scotia, Canada, where I'm from, but because it's the launch of Spirit Talker Tribe. And the month of September, I get to actually, share some teachings with you all for the month of September. So I'm really happy about that. What I want to say is, though, maybe I should introduce myself. Let me just say hello here in the Facebook group because sometimes that triggers. Hello, Kelly Finnegan. I see you in the Facebook group, and let me just see who I see. Oh, I see Catherine Miller. Hello from Iowa. Cynthia Paul, Cynthia. Haunting Live. Hey there, Sean. Bernie G. Hi, y'all. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming into the live session. I'm hoping you all can hear me okay. And but today is the first day, actually, of the launch of Spirit Talker Tribe for 2026. And it's something that I enjoy immensely is sharing my wisdom and teaching with people throughout the year. For the month of September, I do teach like live free classes, and then after the month of September, then I move into the year-long course with all the students who decide to join or register for Spirit Talker Tribe. And so I'm here just to hello Amwalk, hello Nat Milo, White Bears Art, Cheryl LeBlanc, Shirley Zeman, Patricia Blades, Diane McDougall, Gwe from Montreal, Quebec. Ginger Canning, who is a student of Spirit Talker Tribe. So there's a lot of people coming on from all over the place right now, from all over the world, which I appreciate everybody coming in. And I actually just finished my last live teaching class with my year one students just yesterday, actually. So usually I launch for like the whole month of September, and then from October to the next following September, I teach Spirit Talker Tribe, which is an online course that I teach over 12 months and has 12 modules. And if you like to know, I will talk about the modules here a little bit tonight, so you kind of get a sense of what I teach about per month as I do talk about things. I'll tell you about what I'm going to be teaching in September as well. And maybe we'll go over some limiting beliefs that people have in regards to developing their psychic abilities and intuition, because I feel like everybody has some type of limiting belief of thinking that they might not be able to do this, or they know that they have a little bit, but they want to make a little bit stronger or strengthen their abilities to connect to the spirit world. And, I'll tell you who I am first. That would be a good place to start. I'm Shawn Leonard. If you've not seen me before, I'm Shawn Leonard. I'm an Indigenous Mi'kmaq psychic medium that lives in Nova Scotia, Canada. And you may have seen me out in the world somewhere. I do all kinds of podcasts. I think the biggest podcast I did not too long ago was probably on Next Level Soul with Alex Ferrari. And I just spoke to him the other day, and I'm actually going back to Austin, Texas to film another episode of Next Level Soul to talk about my new book, Walking with Your Spirit Totem Animals. But I'm a Heios author in Canada. I have a TV show called Spirit Talker. It's on a channel that is a national-wide channel in Canada, Indigenous channel, called APTN, which is Aboriginal People's Television Network. And people can watch it if you're in Canada on aptnlumi.ca. If you live somewhere else in the world, you can use a VPN and say you're in Canada, and you get to watch the first week on APTN Lumis for free. I know that season 1 of Spirit Talker is on Fossum, which is an app down in the States that people can access. Again, that's called Fossum. And Next Level Soul. Next Level Soul TV has got Spirit Talker season 1. And actually, October, I've done 5 seasons of Spirit Talker across Canada. And the 5th season is coming out, I think, October 18th in Canada. So I'm really happy that everybody's going to get to see the 5th season of Spirit Talker within Canada. But it saw you on Next Level Soul, brought your Oracle card. So that's amazing. So I'm also an author, other than the TV show that I have in Canada that I've done 5 seasons, and 5 seasons is airing, the 5th season is airing within Canada, that I'm also a Heios author. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with Heios. Most people are, but Heios is like an amazing company that I'm so proud to be part of, and a spiritual like-minded people that publish all kinds of different things in regards to helping and serving people. You may have heard of people like Dr. Wayne Dyer or Deepak Chopra or other people like Enduring Virtue back in the day. And I'm happy to be part of that team. And today would be, some really good friends of mine would be John Holland, who's also a medium out of Boston, and has been kind of like a mentor if I need him to be there. If I need to call somebody to ask him about something, he's always there for me. And Colette Barron Reed within Canada, who has enormous amounts of oracle card decks herself. And I met some really other, really nice people like Kyle Gray and other people within the AOS company. And I'm just really happy to be part of them out there representing who I am as an Indigenous person, Mi'kmaq Indigenous person, and my Indigenous name is White Eagle Spirit Talker. And so when I do teach, I do it with a flair of Indigenous kind of knowledge and wisdom. I don't teach ceremonies, but what I do is teach about the wisdom that I've learned from the many ceremonies that I've been part of in the many different Indigenous cultures that I've been, privy to be part of throughout Canada, especially. And so I like to say, I like to kind of like, my connection to the spirit world is obviously, flavored with this, my culture. And when I do teach, there's aspects of that I talk about greatly, because as Indigenous people, it's not something. It's funny because I was down in the Omega Institute teaching a class in New York, in Rhinebeck, New York, and there was a fellow there named Dr. Raymond Moody, a really older fellow, really nice guy. Funny story is I wanted to always meet this man because the first book I ever read was his book, which was like Life After Life, and it was about near-death experiences. And as a kid, and I'm sure just like all of you out wherever you are, that there's certain kind of genre of things that you've been drawn to, and I'm going to say probably like spiritual things throughout your life, and it could be about ghosts or paranormal or dreams or energy healing or all kinds of things like that, or meditation or prayer or ceremony, and even different levels of energy in the ghost world, etc. But and I have been too. I absolutely have been ever since I was a little boy. And I remember going to the library, which we had a bookmobile. We actually didn't have a library. A bookmobile was like a bus that came up to my little community in Nova Scotia, where I got to pick up the book Life After Life and read these kind of inspiring stories where people actually had died and come back and to tell their experience of what it was like in the spirit world from their perspective. And many people would say, well, it's undescribable, but they would still have an ability to describe what they saw to some degree of within meeting people, seeing a light, a tunnel, etc. And I had an experience like that myself of sorts many times throughout my life, where I'd say the biggest, connection I had was with my father after he passed when I was 16 years old. And I saw that light and I saw the other side and I got to touch it and kind of like, be bathed in it of sorts, like enlightened in some way when I saw it. And it was that visitation with my father so long ago when he visited me in a dream, like a dream visitation, that he, told me I'd be helping and serving people and helping people understand this concept and this principle of like connecting, from this world and the physical world to people in the spirit world. And I thought, I was 16 years old when he came to me, and I thought, this is just gibberish. Like my dad's talking nonsense. There's no way. And all I could think about back in the day was literally like guitars and girls. And but here I am. This is like I think my 8th year of teaching Spirit Talker Tribe. That is so amazing. I remember the first year that I launched Spirit Talker Tribe online teaching course. It was, I had 333 students, which is a pretty cool number, if you're into numerology and such. And it's just grown every year. I think roughly about now, from people over the world, I have about 750 students pretty much every year that are part of my course between like a level 1, level 2, and my membership. And but we're here to talk about level 1 tonight for those people who have not taken level 1 of Spirit Talker Tribe. And I know there might be some people out there thinking, well, maybe I'm more advanced, and then maybe I don't really need level 1. And I say to people, in regards to level 1 and level 2 of Spirit Talker Tribe, level 1 is like beginner, intermediate, and advanced all wrapped in one. And I have different people from all walks of life doing different things in life, from nurses to doctors to psychologists to therapists and to people who do spiritual energy work, etc. Even police people, and I even think there's like a few FBI people out there that I've connected to over the years. And so I'm really privileged and honored that I'm able to kind of share these teachings in the way that I do. And so Spirit Talker Tribe. Let me just break down the modules that I teach for year one, and then we'll talk about what I'll be teaching about as we move forward in the next live sessions for the rest of the month of September. The first module, and it starts in October, that I teach Spirit Talker Tribe. And again, I'm going to talk about these in the live sessions as well. But the first module I teach is about your words and your ceremonial words, because throughout my life and being an Indigenous person and meeting so many different elders and understanding, their connection and the words that they use when they speak, to the spirit world, speak to their ancestors, where they call upon the Creator's energy and, Mother Earth and, Grandmother Moons and Grandfather Sun, the first sacred light. So I've learned a lot from being part of ceremonies and just how to speak, from your heart with good words and with good intentions, and come from that space, because that's where I come from. I come from an unconditional loving space and place, and if you hear so many people out in the world who've had kind of near-death experiences, they all kind of will say that, when they went to the other side or experienced or touched a light for a moment on the other side, they said it was, this unconditional loving force. And you could call it the Creator, God, Allah, whatever word that you choose is your word, but it's all the same thing. There's not like, Indigenous people are more connected, or Christian people or Muslim people. We're all connected. We've come from the same source. We've just shown up into this form to be the people we are, to express ourselves in the greatest potential that we can. And some people probably could probably do a little bit better in life. But you know what? We're learning, we're growing, we're experiencing. We have many lifetimes. And this is just one that you've shown up here currently, but there's much more to us than this just one lifetime. And, who we are essentially is that unconditional loving light. We're that orb of light. So the first module I teach in Spirit Talker Tribe is about your ceremonial words. And I really go through the whole month in teaching about how to do this. Now, if you're curious about how the course is outlined, there's once a month, there's a module that is released in Kajabi, and it comes out once a month. And then for the rest of the month, on every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Time or Atlantic Standard Time, whatever time you're in, I used to do Facebook Lives like this, but I've kind of changed it up a bit, and I think it's way better. This year, I started doing live Zoom sessions as opposed to Facebook Lives or just YouTube Lives, etc., because I like the interaction and engagement that I have with the students, and being able to answer their questions and talk to students and see the students as we teach. So there's students everywhere, and people put up their hands and ask questions, but I teach in every live session as well. So there's a teaching module that comes out once a month. And then there's weekly live sessions that come out that are now done on Zoom. So if you're not Facebook friendly, or you're not even on Facebook and you're watching me on YouTube, and I see there's a lot of people here on YouTube right now. There's like 171 people that are just tuning in from YouTube at this point. But I do it on Zoom now, so everybody has the access to be part of it. Now, for the month of September, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to teach in YouTube on my like page. I'm going to teach in the Facebook Spirit Talker Tribe Facebook interest group. And I'm going to post it everywhere I can, just to get it out there as much as I can, because, even if you don't join the course, I'm hoping that you'll get something from the year-long teachings and just me discussing certain modules that I teach throughout the year. So module 2, which is in month 2 of Spirit Talker Tribe, is about meditation. And, meditation is hugely important to receive information from spirit. And it doesn't mean that you have to be able to meditate on a mountain for like 30 minutes straight without having a thought cross your mind at all. What I find being a spirit talker, or a psychic medium, as some people may call it, my name is White Eagle Spirit Talker. And a spirit talker is kind of what I'm referred to in my culture, as opposed to a psychic medium. And I kind of like that better. I feel more in alignment with that. And I think a lot of people start calling themselves spirit talkers too as well. because that's what we do. We communicate with spirit and we invite them to connect to us, but we also have to learn to create space to receive messages from them. And we have to do some exercises to kind of learn how we create space so that when spirit does connect to us, that we are able to perceive or receive, perceive, and work with the information accordingly, so that we can help and guide people, through psychic work, or help and guide people as a psychic medium. And there's a little bit of a subtle difference between psychic work and psychic mediumship work. A psychic tunes into the person's energy or their energy via their voice over a phone conversation or Zoom, etc. And they guide them in their lifetime. So they give them guidance, about what they should be thinking about for career or their love life, etc., like that, giving them advice. I mean, when you talk to a psychic, again, it's all advice, and it's up to you to kind of weigh that advice and take it so that you can work with it in your life if you choose to. And it's a good reference to go back to sometimes when you do see a psychic, to kind of help, because people can kind of vibe you out a little bit better than sometimes you think they can. And, certain people like myself have that ability to kind of tune into people and share what I know as a psychic. But a medium is somebody who opens up and receives information from the spirit world to give to you, to validate, to let you know who's with you and around you, who walks with you, messages that they may have. And predominantly that's what I do. But all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums, if that makes sense. Because some people just specialize in guiding people in life. And I think some people are naturally psychic and just think that they're not, right? Because, you might meet a person and feel like, there's something off with this person. Their energy's a little bit off today. You can't, they're not telling you. They might be pretending they're not, that they are good, but you can tell there's something deeper going on within them. Like there's this turmoil, right? And I know we've all had, feelings like that, sometimes with our family, our loved ones, our friends, etc., or even just someone you're standing in a line at the bank with. You could just stand with somebody and just feel their energy, right? So that's psychic stuff. Now, the third module that I teach in Spirit Talker Tribe has a little bit to do with this, because we have to understand who we are as a spirit. So, module 3 in the course is about chakras and auras. So it's learning how to kind of work with your energy centers to expand your energy if you choose to, and how to kind of pull it in if you're not like wanting to be like tuning into the guy's energy in front of you, or the lady's energy in front of you at the bank line that you feel is kind of cranky today, and that has this residual energy that you're kind of like rubbing off in your aura, etc. So I help people understand who you are as an energetic being. And I got some great teachings on that, some meditations that I share. And I think I'm going to be talking about it in, these live sessions as well. I think on September 14th, when our next live, I'm going to do some teaching on that. So I don't want to get too deep into the teaching tonight, but tell you what Spirit Talking Tribe is about, tell you what I'll be teaching about for the month, what's all involved with the course, to give you a sense of what you might be in for this month. And then if you continue on with the course itself. But chakras and auras, and learning how to expand. And I got some amazing pictures. And, this weekend, and, when you join Spirit Talker Tribe, as a gift to me, as a bonus when people sign up for Spirit Talker Tribe, I have an offer that I usually offer all my students, that you get to come, if you want to, you can come to Nova Scotia, Canada, and be part of a whole weekend live teaching with me. I do a reading thing at the end, but I teach all the modules in person for the whole weekend as well. And it's like a free bonus, and you don't have to pay anything for that aspect if you sign up for the course. And it's actually tomorrow is our live weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this weekend in Nova Scotia, I have my Spirit Talker Tribe live gathering. And I have I think 260 people of students that have signed up, that are attending from all over the place. People are flying in from everywhere for it. So it's amazing to have like-minded people get together and just spend time together, because you get to know everybody throughout the year, throughout the course, etc. And so it's this weekend that I get to do that with my students that have taken it this previous year, as we just finished our last live session the other night. So we all get together and just kind of hang, and I get to teach, and etc. But I got an amazing picture. I'm going to show you on September 14th, though. I'm not going to show you before then. But it's there's this picture that I had when I was teaching last week, and it's not just me. There was another lady who was in my course as well, that's still in my course, in my membership, and her name is Lee Shanks. And we were both on stage sharing kind of the platform of doing readings together on the stage, mostly her, but I was there doing some readings as well. Because it's an aspect of something that we shared during the live session that we had some pictures taken of us up on stage, and you can like literally see our auras. And so if you're unsure that we have this kind of energetic light around us, it's absolutely there and sometimes can be captured on film. So I'll probably like send that out or post it in the group or send it in an email. But and if you're on YouTube, then I'll be able to kind of bring it up and show you the picture, because I'll have them loaded so that you guys can kind of see them when I'm talking about it on September 14th. So that's a module I teach, and there's a lot to that for the whole month as well. Now, the next module I teach in level 4, because the first 4 modules are about kind of like growing your spirituality and raising your energetic connection, right? Because in order to then start making connections, you have to think about, your ceremonial words, the way you approach spirit, your meditations to receive information, and then your own energy centers through your own chakras and aura, and then learning about the levels of the spirit world. Because we live in dimensional space and time. Well, there's space, and I like to say there is no time. We experience time when we're here, but there's levels of energy that we interact with all the time, and there's levels of energetic spirits on all these kind of different levels. I like to say there's probably about 7 levels, just like the spectrums of the rainbow, and there's different levels of energy. We're on a level of energy ourselves. We have this experience, and I do feel like there's earthbound spirits, some people that choose to stay upon earth. You could call them ghosts, and nobody's like over there going, you can't come onto the light. That doesn't happen. That's a personal choice. And some people still cling to the ego of who they once were and their home, their property, etc. It's kind of rare, but it happens sometimes. And I've got some amazing stuff to share with you in regards to that when we talk about that in these teachings too throughout this month. But I talk about the different levels of energy and how to raise kind of your energetic vibration to kind of work with high level energy, as opposed to walking around, and thinking that you're going to be like scared of the ghost world, etc. The ghost world is there, but there's also the level or the light where your ancestors, your loved ones, your grandmom, your father, your mother, and everybody, 99.99% of people go. They move into the higher level dimensional space and time, and then they eventually will reincarnate. But there's no time, and everybody's waiting for us. But so I do talk about levels of the spirit world, and also a little bit about, and I don't like to call it psychic protection, because I think that's kind of a negative thing around it, but just, how to work and use your light so you never feel like that you're kind of out of sorts, that you're in a good space, and that no matter who and what energy you're approaching, that you are good. And how do you even use that energy to kind of like, move energy in a space or place or etc. And there's a little bit of where my culture comes in, because I talk about smudging. And smudging in this module, being an Indigenous person, is really a big part of my culture. But we as people throughout the world have used smoke and ceremony, for eons. And it doesn't matter what culture you're with, whether you're in East India or China, or you're Buddhist, or you're using frankincense, or sage or sweetgrass, etc. That what I teach people about is how to use those medicines properly from wherever culture you are, and how to approach them in a good way, because they all should be respected and worked with your intention, your light, your energy from a good space. And I teach people how to kind of use that. So if you can create space and light around wherever you go, and even in spaces that maybe some people may ask you to go, to kind of help them in some sense. So that's module 4. Okay, let's move on to module 5. So this is more about connections. And I actually think my next live session, because I have a live session coming up. When is my next live session? I think it's on the 8th, actually, September 8th. And I just said, it's about the Spirit Talker Tribe launch, but I might throw an extra teaching in there, just so you know, because September 8th, which I believe is Monday, because it's the day after the launch of Spirit Talker Tribe, because the course launches on September 7th to 30th. But for the month of September, you get free teachings. And then if you choose to sign up, you can sign up if you want to. And September 7th, the actual physical registration opens for the course itself. And on the 8th, I'm going to do a live session at the same time that I'm doing it right now. But I think I'm going to talk about dreams, because I don't think I've listed it down to discuss dreams in the other live sessions that I had there. And there's something that I would like to talk to you about as well. And so I'm just going to put it out there for the next live session. If you like to, for the 8th, if you'd like to share a dream that you'd like to have analyzed, or for me to talk about, and to kind of break down my understanding of how dreams and the messages that they may contain for us, then please email me at Shawn-Leonard, SHAWN, hyphen Leonard, which is the middle line, hyphen, the dash, Leonard, LEONARD at hotmail.com. And if you send me your dream, I'll go through them and I'll pick out some and we'll talk about them for the next live session on September 8th, if you'd like to do that. So, and that's module 5 in the course. It's all about dreams and the different types of dreams. And I like to say there's 5 different aspects of dreams that that we have. There's like problem solving dreams. There's fear release dreams. There is visitation dreams. There's astral travel dreams, and but I feel like that I need to kind of tell you about that on that day. So I don't want to get too much into it because I probably will, because I'm like that. As soon as I start teaching about something, I can't stop. So module 5 in the course is about dreams, but I'm going to talk about this next week. So if you want to show up and talk about and discuss dreams and the energy and prophetic dreams as well, send me some stuff and we'll bring them up and talk about them in the next live session. So module 6 for the Spirit Talker Tribe Online course is signs and connecting to your loved ones in the spirit world. So we move out of like raising our energy, learning about our dreams, to then making connections. So calling upon through our ceremonial words and, doing things to kind of invite your loved ones to connect to you. And then what that could look like when they do connect to you. What's different ways that they can connect and let you know they're around, whether it's through a sign or a dream or something being moved, thoughts, feelings, words, music that comes on, a scent or smell, etc. There's so many amazing ways that, people in spirit world, your loved ones, are trying to communicate to you now that they're visiting you sometimes. Then, they're not like haunting you and spending time with you in the bathroom, nothing like that. They're just visiting you and they want you to know they're around. So that's module 6. So we do a whole month on connecting to your loved ones, your ancestors. And then module 7, which is something I'm going to talk about. Synchronicities. Absolutely, Amwalk. I see that. Synchronicities. And I love your energy too, Cynthia Paul. But I think we're going to, connecting and working with spirit guides and animal totems. And so that is a module in itself. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to be talking about spirit guides and animal totems on which night here of these free live sessions? It is September 22nd. I'm going to do another live session, same time, same places that you're finding me now. And I'm going to discuss spiritual guides and how they are with you and how to call upon them and things you can do to kind of work with them and understand how they are communicating to you. But not only that, this is an aspect of my indigenous culture, and it's talking about animal totems. And I'm just going to pop it up here. You may not see it if you're on the Facebook interest group, right? Which some of you are. Then let me just see. If you are, you're going to have to go to Amazon or go to my website. You'll be able to see a link there somewhere. But if you go to Amazon, you'll look up Walking with Your Spirit Totem Animals. I'm going to bring it up here for everybody that's on YouTube and everywhere else so you can see it. This is my new book that's coming out with Hey Host Publishing on October 21st, and it's called Walking with Your Spirit Totem Animals. And I feel not only do we have, spiritual guides, but we have spirit animal guides as well. And you could call them totems, or power totems, or spiritual totems. And I believe we have at least 4 that show up at different stages of our life. And some are messengers and some help us. So I'm going to be teaching about this as well in the course. But I'm also going to be doing a free teaching on this and talking about some of the stories of connecting with my own animal totems. But I want you to know that, on September 22nd, we're going to be talking about spirit guides and spirit animal totems as a teaching thing for the evening. I know the cover is stunning, isn't it, Melinda Kelly? And I actually had a little bit of hand in creating that cover. He host made it look way better than the creation that I made, but I pretty much created it myself from a vision I had in my mind that I wanted to share with everybody. Now, this is another subject that I teach about in Spirit Talker Tribe, and it's about angels. I have a whole month dedicated to discussing and talking about angelic connections and what that may look like for your life and how to work with your angels sometimes. And I know Kyle Gray is an amazing teacher in relation to connecting to your angels, another wonderful Helios author, and he's got a lot of good material out there. But my experience is a little bit different, but I do understand how people approach it. But I like to say that I've made some connections with angels in my lifetime, and I'm hoping that maybe you have as well. And I'll talk about some of those connections and maybe how you can call upon and work with your angels. If I have time on the 22nd, I'll talk about angels as well. And then after we get done through the connection phase of Spirit Talker Tribe course, the last 4 modules are dedicated to kind of like clearly understanding your psychic abilities. And there's 4 modules that I really focus on for 4 months. It's your intuition, your clairsentient abilities, your clear feeling, to feel things from spirit. And then your clairvoyance, which is another module, and understanding how to activate, engage your clairvoyance so that you can have better connections, so that you can allow things to come to you visually. And I have exercises that I teach to help you strengthen these so that you can have clairvoyant experiences yourself. And something that I'm very good at, and probably a lot of people, if you watch Spirit Talk or ever see me out in the world, is my clairaudient abilities, to hear spirit. And I have particular exercises that I do to kind of strengthen my clairaudient abilities. And I want to help people understand what it's like to hear spirit. And I've actually recorded all kinds of spirits talking to me. So I know I'm not crazy, because there's spirits that talk to me sometimes. I can physically record them talking to me. Now, how do I hear them most of the time? I hear them as thoughts, like telepathy of sorts, like audible telepathy that comes into my mind. And I believe that we all have the ability to connect, to receive things intuitively, clairsentiently, which is like feeling, sensing spirit, clairvoyantly seeing spirit, clairaudiently hearing spirit. And of course, last but not least, but claircognitely, to just know certain things and you don't know how you know. And I know that people have this ability as well. Sometimes you just meet a person and you know exactly what they're going through. You know what their struggles are, right? You know what they've been struggling with in life, and they don't even tell you, but you just know. You don't know how you know, but you know. And there's a way to kind of like strengthen that as well. And I kind of teach that in the course. And I'm going to talk about, these psychic abilities in the last free teaching of the month in one of the live sessions, because I've been doing this work for over 25 years. So it's not like I just started doing this. I know I've been doing this work for over 25 years, and 12 of those 25 years, I've been doing it professionally. I'm a professional spirit talker, psychic medium, author, public speaker, TV show host, so I know this is just part of who I am. And with all the years of wisdom and knowledge that I have by approaching and stepping into this work, I want to share it with you. I want to share all this with you. For this month, but for free, absolutely. So hopefully you'll get something from this month that will work with you in some way, and I'm sure you will. And then if you wish to go deeper and learn more, then you can join the full year course. But so that teaching will be on September 29th, which is close to the end of the launch of Spirit Talker Tribe course. So you can sign up and register for the actual year-long course. You can still take part in all the free teachings if you choose. But the year-long course launch ends on September 30th. And then you actually, because I only do this once a year. I do a launch once a year. And because when I do have all the students who sign up for the course, who register, beyond the free teachings of the month of September, I give you all of my energy. I give you all of my wisdom and knowledge for that year. And between the modules that are released once a month, but especially through the live sessions, the Zoom live sessions that I have with all my students, I share as much as I can to help deepen your understanding and connection for you. And I've had students that just as of recently, as we moved into the psychic abilities, that have been getting connections. And maybe I'll throw out a couple of videos from previous years of other students talking about, how they've worked with their psychic abilities. But I've had some amazing students this year, amazing students of the past. Some people are working professionally that didn't work professionally as psychic mediums. But the thing is this is not just for professional psychic mediums. I do get into the aspect of really advanced type of teaching in certain aspects, But most people are just looking to connect to their ancestors, the loved ones, and maybe help a friend or family member from time to time. And that's really what this is focused on. But that doesn't mean that what I teach is not advanced, because I think people think that this work is somehow difficult, or that they have these limiting beliefs that says that they can't do this. And one of those things that some people think is like, well, I'm not special enough to do this. Many people think that only certain people are chosen to make connections, that only certain people have this ability. You are spirit having a human experience. You are first and foremost spirit. You have a connection to your own spirit, and I help strengthen that. But you have a connection to other spirit if you only invite and welcome them through your ceremonial words, your smudge, and the things that you speak. But those are just limiting beliefs that people carry. It's not true. We're all connected on different levels, and you can always work on it. And I say, when you're doing this work, it's practice and exercise. And some people really invest a lot of practice and exercise, and some people, just want to just connect and help people from time to time. And they want that connection to community that we have in Spirit Talker Tribe, because, man, do we have an amazing community. And I know there's a lot of people here that I see that are even watching, and they've been with my course for years and years, and they're still joining in for the live free sessions, for God's sakes. It's because they absolutely love this stuff. They love working with Spirit. They're connected to Spirit themselves. And I coach and I help and I teach, but I have students within the course that are also like helping people too, that have been through the course and understand things. Then you can throw out ideas in a private student Facebook group, and other people will get back and actually talk to you about, their experiences, and maybe help you understand even a little bit deeper, even more than myself sometimes. Now, another limiting belief that some people have is that, this is dangerous, or it's evil, or it's dark, right? And I think this is kind of like a programming from religious beliefs, that this is like you're working with something you don't know. And it's ridiculous, because when you approach things from a space of love and people are connecting you from that same place, communicating loving messages to help guide, heal people, give direction sometimes. I mean, if that is evil, then everything that we think about the other side and the creator is evil too, which is silly. It's a silly way of thinking that we've limited ourselves and stopped ourselves because of fear. And fear is a big block for so many people. What if you changed your belief and thinking and understanding that, imagine like you're alive right now, right? Of course you are. You're here. And maybe you have friends or family or children that are here right now, or grandchildren, right? And if you move on to the other side and you see that your loved one needs help, healing, guidance, direction, wouldn't you want to give that to them if you could? Wouldn't you want to try and reach out and let them know that you're around in some way, or give them some message to let them know that you still exist beyond this physical form, that there's more to you than just the body that you once had in one lifetime? Absolutely, you would. I love my kids. I would love to go. I would want to show up and come through and give them a message. Or if I left and my wife, Michelle, was still here, I would like to come back and tell her, to be happy and joyful, to find a good space in life, maybe a new partner, who knows, right? I would like to give her those messages where she may be stuck and maybe need, a message for me to kind of help her. And I may look for somebody like you. I may look for somebody like you that is connected, that has a connection, and is approaching it from a good space, and has a good heart center, and approaches spirit world from that same place, and operates from that unconditional loving space, because that's who you truly are, first and foremost. When you hear all those people that I was telling you about before, that have had near-death experiences, and they go to the other side and they experience the other side. And I'm sure there's people here tonight that have had near-death experience themselves, or have seen the light in a vision or dream or visitation as well. And, there's, it's not just for select people. Let me just type in here for Facebook people, because I think it gets stuck. It gets stuck. And I see Valerie Ann here, and Brenda Wilson. Hello. And I see Kelly Finnegan, Ginger Canning, you're here too. But, Spirit could be looking for somebody like you, to make a connection for someone else. And again, does it have to mean that you're a professional psychic medium on stage with a TV show and have several books out? No, you don't. I once wasn't. And I still was in service. And I was very resistant and reluctant back in the day. And even I, myself, didn't think I was good enough. I remember the first reading that I had that I did. One of the very first ones I did was with a lady named Jen Syme. I wrote about her in my Spirit Talker book, and I didn't show you my other stuff that I do. This is my Wisdom of the Elders Oracle card deck that is also through Hayos Publishing. And this is the book Spirit Talker. Okay, I clicked myself off for a second. I'm back. But anyway, this is my book and my Oracle card deck. So there's teachings in these as well, along with my new book that's coming out. And they even put out Wisdom of the Elders in Spanish now. It's awesome. I just love it. They sent me this, that it's now in Spanish. But way back in the day, when I started to do sessions, I was very resistant, and I feel like Spirit kind of like nudged me to kind of like to be the person I am today. I mean, I think we all have a purpose in life, and not everybody's purpose is meant to be a professional psychic medium. And I was very resistant to even kind of like stepping into this, even back in the day when I started. But with some encouragement, with some friends, and meeting people, I was able to kind of trust. And I thought I was like making stuff up. I really thought I was making stuff up. That's what I thought. And I remember when Jen, because I mean, way back in the day, my ex-wife worked at a restaurant. I know in the book it's a little bit different, but my ex-wife, I say it's my friend in the book, but she worked at a restaurant called Montana's, and I would go there and meet people. And I often waited for her for food, right? And as I waited, I would kind of vibe people out and just say, well, not to be judgmental of anybody, because I am absolutely not judgmental of anyone at any point in any space of life. But I would see somebody and go, well, that guy feels a little bit off. He feels like I wouldn't trust him with money. I hope he's not stealing from the till or anything like that. Or, maybe that guy feels like he's he might be dealing drugs on the side. I don't know. I know he smokes a lot of weed. I can smell it, but I just feel like, he's probably got a bigger thing going on there. That's what I felt. And then a couple of people walked by me, even though they, weren't together. I just sensed that maybe they were hooking up, and not being judgmental, but just vibes, right? And I thought, this is just thoughts. On my way home, I tell my now ex-wife, I'd tell her what I thought about these people. And she thought I was judgmental, and I told her I wasn't. It was just like a thought that I had. I was sitting there waiting for a long time, but I had nothing better to do than the people watch. And she says, no, that father's a minister. That guy's father's a minister, and he would never steal anything. And those people are married to other people. And I thought that's what it was, And so a week later, she comes home and she goes, "You're not going to guess what happened, Shawn." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Well, I caught that couple kissing. That's how this day started." And then the manager caught the guy stealing money from the till. And you know what? The cops came in and busted this guy for dealing drugs. And I knew that he had a bit of a problem, but I didn't think it was that bad. And I'm like, she goes like, "How did you know that?" I'm like, I didn't really know it. It was just because when I started a spiritual journey back in the day, the whole reason why I started the spiritual journey was because my father passed away at 42 years old. He died of a massive heart attack in the driveway in Elmsdale, Nova Scotia, where I was raised. And, as a young man of 15 years old, and he came to visit me a year later, talked to me about, through that dream that I'd be helping people. And I just brushed it off, right? I never thought anything about it again. And, but, I was a new father in Calgary, Alberta, where I was living. I had a young daughter that was coming into life now named Mackenzie, who I call Kenzie. And she still lives in Alberta. And she does psychology and therapy herself, and I'm very proud of her. But just before she was born, I'm in my early 20s, I decided that maybe I should go get my cholesterol checked, because my dad died of a heart attack. And so I went and got checked, and the doctor called me in right away, which is never good. The doctor says, "I want to see you right away." And I found out that my cholesterol was through the roof. And I smoked. I didn't really eat good. I didn't take care of myself, And the doctor said, listen, if you don't change your life, you're not going to live to 42. You're not going to live your father. You're going to die as well. And I thought, really? And it startled me so bad. I quit smoking within 2 weeks. I started going to the gym. I started eating better. I started reading some books about, how to better heart health, etc. And then I started to meditate, because what I realized too, that there's a lot of stress and anxiety that we have. And I started speaking with spirit and meditating. And I knew that being well in life, it's not just your physical form. It's body, mind, and spirit. It's these three things that come together, that connect, that help us live and walk in life in a good way. So I started to become more spiritual, and I started to meditate on and really good visualized meditations that I did and stuff. And that's when stuff started kind of opening up for me. Hence why I teach these things in the course, is I started to become more intuitive, more psychic, that I didn't realize I was. I was sensing things more, And so anyway, what happened was, this lady, Jen Syme, at work, because, she heard about what I said to my wife about all this stuff. She wanted to come see me. And, she says, oh, well, I'm coming to see Shawn for a reading. And this is like, apparently they talked, and she was coming over on Sunday, and I was going to do a session. And she said, my ex-wife says, don't worry. Her expectations aren't too high, but she really wants to just come and see you. And I'm like, okay. But I really don't know what I'm doing. Right. I just don't know. She goes, just vibe out, just, do what you kind of did with the people, I'm sure she'll be happy. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I felt like kind of a fish out of water. Like I had imposter syndrome, obviously. So I know that most people here are going to feel like that too. And that's okay, because I did too. And so she comes over, and again, not knowing anything about what I was doing, we had dinner, we sat down after dinner, and she just says, so what do you see? What do you feel from me? And I'm like, so I start talking about some guy named Dale. And I said, a guy named Dale? And I feel like, he feels like he's alive. And she goes, well, I just met Dale. He's my boyfriend. And, we've been spending a lot of time together. And I'm like, really? I was like surprised. Like, I couldn't believe that I actually got something, it surprised me. And then I started kind of sensing and seeing in my mind, like thinking about traveling and writing a book and pets and things like this. So I told her, and she goes, me and Dale just talked about this. We thought it'd be great. I am working on a book right now, she says. And she actually did publish a book. It's called The Masses Are Asses. And it's about serving people at restaurants. And it's kind of a funny book. I'm not sure if it's still out there for sale. And I think she's written some other books since then. And but a really nice lady, Jen. And so she goes, well, yeah, me and Dale talked about this. We're going to go look after people's homes and take care of their pets while they're on vacation. So we'll get a free vacation and get to visit different places at the same time. And I work for my dad part-time, so I can do that for wherever I go. I'm like, really? I was surprised again. Like, am I really doing this? And, and where is this coming from? I had, again, this imposter syndrome so badly. And I thought I was making it up, The masses are asses, Maria. Yeah, absolutely. It's too funny. It's a good name, good title, funny book, both serving people in restaurants, eh? But she goes, well, I wanted to connect to somebody, And I thought, well, I don't know if I can do that. She goes, well, can you just try? And I'm like, okay, I'll try. So I thought, maybe perhaps she's got a grandmom past. This is what I felt. I felt that she probably has a grandmom past. And I tell her, and she goes, yes, I do have my grandmom past. And I love her dearly. And she says, can you see her? I'm like, well, I kind of imagine what her grandmom would look like. And she goes, that's my grandmom. Oh my God, you're really connected to her. I'm like, really? She goes, but that's not who I want to talk to. And I'm like, what do you mean that's not who you want to talk to? She goes, yeah, there's someone else I wanted to talk to. It was a friend of mine, and I'm hoping you can make a connection. I've always wanted to connect to him. I've been to lots of people, and I've never had a chance to connect to him yet. I'm like, okay. So I focused and kind of got into a kind of meditative state, and I created space in my mind, and I saw this image. that I thought was like a daydream or something I was making up. And it looked like very quickly flashed through my head. And I know that you can all visualize this too, because if you can visualize this, you can see. So I saw this young man who was about 16 years old, maybe 15. He's wearing a baseball uniform. He had a baseball number on, and he had a baseball in his hand. He was bouncing up and down in his hand. And he walks into a shed, and that was all I saw. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if that's what she was wanted to hear. And I felt kind of really awkward even saying it. So I said, well, Jen, I'm so sorry. I don't know what this is, but I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing. And I told her, and she cried. She literally cried. She goes, oh my God, that's my friend. We played baseball together. And one night after a baseball game, he hung himself in the shed. And I've been wanting to connect him for so long. I've been wanting to know if he's okay. And I didn't really know how to answer it, really, to be honest. I felt like a fish out of water a little bit, and I didn't even know where that came from, but I knew it came from love. I knew the person that I felt that showed me the message was in a good space. And he was telling me what had happened to him, because that's what she remembers. That's where she holds her trauma. This is where she needs healing. So often what I've discovered through my many years of work is that spirit will often take you to places where people hold trauma or need healing, or because they see this is where you struggle. This is what you need to work through. This is what you need to release. So I said, I feel that, he's in a really good space, and I feel he's okay. And, I wouldn't be able to connect to him if he wasn't moved on. And that's all I could say at the time. And, it took many years to kind of develop, but that's all she needed to hear. It was like one image that came into my mind. There was other things that I didn't know how it was coming to me, but it came. And that's how quickly and subtly being a spirit talker, a psychic medium is, and how of a big of an impact it could have in somebody's life just for a moment. It doesn't have to be where you sit and do like hour-long sessions with people thinking you have to know everything either. That's not like what it is at all. And I think, people think as well that, well, I have to hear the spirits talking to me. Well, you may hear a spirit talk to you very rarely. You may hear thoughts come in your mind from a spirit, or you may hear a song pop in your head that's like there out of the blue and you don't know why. There's different ways that they can communicate. And many times what I also thought, and what I feared, was getting something that people didn't understand. I would, but I would tell them anyway, because sometimes, what we think is our thoughts, right? They're our thoughts. And sometimes people think that we just have to know everything. And sometimes we just need to say what we need to say to them, because spirit's kind of like communicating something to you. So you say it and it means something to them, but you don't understand what it means to them. But it's not about us. It's about the people you're giving messages to. And then sometimes people didn't know something right away. And that kind of scared me a little bit, It really scared me. But then they come back and go, oh, I found out what you were talking about and you were right. I'm like, was I? So I gained confidence over time. And it just started off subtly. And it's because I started on a spiritual journey. And I started to change my life. And, a lot of people fear maybe not having enough training in doing this stuff. So this is why I take people through this whole course, is to help you understand how this all works, simplified in such a way that it's advanced, if that makes sense. Because the simplest way I can explain this is, once you understand how spirit does communicate to and through and with you for other people and yourself, you learn as you do it. You learn through practice. You learn by trusting, and it grows and it strengthens because you trust it and you work with it more. Now, it's something else other people think, and is that, people are going to think I'm crazy, right? Or they're going to judge me or something. And but that shouldn't stunt your growth. You should be who you need to be in life, independent of what other people think. You're here to be the fullest and greatest expression of yourself, and remember who you truly are, which is spirit having a human experience. And as you grow, you want to be more connected. As you get older, you want to be more connected because as you age and progress through life, you become closer to the time from which you'll make the journey, and you want to have a good grasp and understanding in it and have a peace in your heart because you know that there's nothing to fear and that you know that you're connected. And another fear that some people have is that, what if I can't control this? It's out of control. And some people have heard that, but that's what meditation teaching is about, because it's about moving your mind away from things when you don't need to be open all the time. And that's why I think some people with mental illness sometimes have troubles, is because their mind is really open. Somebody that might be schizophrenic. I think somebody's tapping my drum behind me I don't know if you guys heard like a tap tap. I'm pretty sure I heard one. So it feels like spirits are on trying to say hello here somehow. So you might hear a tap tap behind me. But you can control this. You control you control your space always. And it's a door that you can close and open when you choose. And I do it all the time. I've been doing this for 25 years. And I've never been in a space or place where I feel like I've been out of control. Things have been out of control. And then when I do connect to a spirit that may be earthbound, that may be a little bit negative, because they're all still just people. You can run into cranky people at the drugstore, or at the shopping store, or wherever, right? The grocery store. There's sometimes like a lower level energy spirit who's still clinging to the ego of like they once were. But usually, if they know that you're coming across from love, light, kindness, compassion, they will avoid you like the plague. Trust me. And I've heard spirits in those spaces run the hell away from me because I approach them from that space. And but I never worry. And then we have our guides, our angels that are there to kind of help and support us. And when you strengthen those connections, know them, and being able to call upon them in the right ways, then there's no really fear of like opening a door that you can't close. So, when you're opening your energy, that's what I talk about with your chakras and invitation and spirit words, to speaking with spirit, your ceremony where you invite spirit, where you create space to listen. And then you extend and expand your aura so that you can kind of like focus and create space, because there's space that needs to be created to receive things. And then send them off and smudge and clear the space so that you can actually be good in life. How's the polar bear? We lost you for a split second. Yes. And yes, the polar bear is great. Did you lose me for a second? And sometimes the connection goes in and out. And so anyway, those are some limiting beliefs that I've written down to talk about with people. And what I want to share with you is we're all connected. We came from the same place, the same source. We can connect if we choose. It's just understanding how they communicate and learning how to raise your energy and to create a good safe space around yourself to make that so that it's that it's a valid, good connection, so that you can like help and serve not only yourself but other people. And that's really what Spirit Talker Tribe is about, is to help you be more connected, but also through your abilities and your practice and understanding and knowledge and service, then you'll be able to help other people too, in whatever format that you choose. And some people say, hey, I want to go on this and do this and help people all the time. And there's people in Spirit Talker Tribe course that have done that. I've had a lot of professionals that are out in the world that have taken my course as well, that help strengthen their connection to the other side, because they love serving people and they just want to strengthen it even greater, and maybe have a different person's approach and ideals to kind of influence them or help them in a way to kind of strengthen their own abilities that they already have. And we all connect and receive things uniquely, independently, different than everyone else. And I teach you that vocabulary and your vocabulary as part of it. But so surrender your limiting beliefs. How about we say, what if? I can, I am, as opposed to saying, or anything from fear. And there's so many fear-based thoughts and ideas that we could have. How long is each class, somebody says here? Well, each class is like the online teachings are less than an hour. Some are a little bit more than an hour for the module that's released once a month. And the live sessions, Zoom, are supposed to be an hour, but sometimes I go over an hour. Tonight we're at 59 minutes, and I'll probably wrap it up here pretty quick. But I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back on Monday, September 8th. And just so you know, if you'd like to register for the course for the year, Amazing. Go to my website, shawn-leonard.com, and click on the Spirit Talker Tribe tab, and there'll be links there. The price is on my website right now. It's $555 Canadian a year. And you can pay two ways. You can pay in full, or you can pay 12 monthly equal installments. So if you'd like to join, you can think about it. Maybe you want to hold off and wait and see how these free teachings go work out for you first. That's your choice. I've already had people like saying, "Hey, let me in. I want in there right now." And I think one person signed up today. She sent me an e-transfer right away. She goes, "I'm in." And I said, "It's not even open yet." She goes, "I'm in anyway. I want in now." So that's amazing. That's so many people. And I have so many amazing people that are in my course out there talking about the course itself. So that's important. If you are on Facebook, you can look at all on the feature tab in the Facebook group, the Spirit Talker Tribe Facebook group. And there's actually if you click on the feature tab, you can scroll down and watch the testimonial videos in the actual Facebook group. I'll send out some here in the not too distant future, some students talking about their experience with being in Spirit Talker Tribe as well. But for now, I hope to see you on Wednesday. And we're going to talk about dreams and signing up for Spirit Talker Tribe. Registration is officially open on September 7th. So you can go to my website and look for that link. And if not, then I hope to see you in the free live teachings that are coming up very soon in September 8th at the same time that this one started, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Will be September 8th, and we're going to talk about dreams. And if you have some, like me to kind of analyze your dream, please email it to me, Shawn-Leonard@hotmail.com. If you go to my website, my email address is on there too, Shawn-Leonard.com. But you guys all have an amazing night. Thank you for joining me for this evening session, just for a discussion, giving you a brief overview of Spirit Talker Tribe. What is Spirit Talker Tribe? And what I'll be teaching for the rest of the month here and the free live teachings. And I hope to see you continue and see your names pop up here on the side as we move forward. But you guys all have an amazing night, and I hope to see you September 8th. Wilalio and Sitnogama.